Hello tacticians, it's Nox here, and today we're going to be looking at the new character coming out, the Tyranid Tyrant Guard. But before we get into him, I've got a couple of thank yous. Thank you to Greenhorn and White Wolf. Both of you used my friend code and it really is very much appreciated, so thank you very much. So, about this new Tyranid character. What is he and what does he do? Well, in the lore, this Tyrant Guard does exactly what his name suggests. He protects the Hive Tyrants, which are the leaders of the Tyranids. So, unsurprisingly, he does a very similar job in this game. He is, of course, a big target, so he won't get any benefit from tall grass, trenches, but adjacent friendly units will receive -1 hit from ranged attacks. And, of course, he can't be displaced. He's too heavy to move. The second one is a new ability which we haven't seen before, which is Crushing Strike. Using its mighty but cumbersome melee weapons, this unit deals plus 50% damage with normal melee attacks if it has not moved this turn. We'll have a little look at that in a second. At the rare rarity, its active ability are the Crushing Claws, and at rare rarity, which I like to look at for TA purposes, and at level 26, he will do 2 times piercing damage to an adjacent enemy, and then will taunt them for 1 round, which means they will not be able to move away. This is really great with that Crushing Strike, so you know that next turn you're really going to put the pain on them. And if that's not enough, enemies adjacent to both the Tyrant Guard and the target are dealt damage as well, and then they get pushed back 1 hex. All of the affected units then become suppressed for a round. That's quite a lot in 1 ability. However, it's probably his guardian organism which will really make this character shine in the TA. At the end of its turn, if the Tyrant Guard did not move, or it is within synapse range, then it and friendly units affected by its big target trait take -29% damage up to a maximum of -270 damage per hit. And that is the important bit here. It is per hit, and it's not just shooting, it's any attack. This is big in TA. Although, let's be honest, when it comes to Calendis, he just does 1 big shot, but even that -270 damage could be the difference between death and being alive for another turn. If the characters attacking have more than 1 attack, well, this guy is really going to remove damage and keep your characters alive for much longer. You can equip him with one of the Brutal Bone Swords, rare rarity, which gives you the 25% crit chance and 252 crit damage. This is lower crit chance than other factions, but it's a decent amount of damage to put in there. And he gets 2 of these bonded exoskeletons, which gives him both health and armour, which at the rare rarity and at level 26 will give him a very impressive health and armour trait. And his damage isn't anything to be sniffed at either. It also does 2 piercing hits in close combat as well. So a lot of that damage is going to be going through. And if that wasn't enough, remember that 50% of this damage, which is again piercing, will be added on yet again if he hasn't moved. This guy is literally going to crush people in combat. So we've thought about him from a TA perspective, but what about guild raids? Well, I don't really think he's going to find a home there. First of all, he can't be used against the other Tyranid bosses, as he is a Tyranid himself, and as he is melee, it can be tricky to get into melee range for the Necron boss. Ghazghkull Thraka moves around a lot, and Mortarion really does put out a lot of damage in close combat, so I truly believe that this guy will most often be seen in either the TA, or you're going to save him for those legendary events which require piercing damage. So here we are in TA, and let's see what normally happens to Jane Zar when Calendis gets her in his sights. Boom. Very good amount of health is taken off. In fact, we have now got 284 health remaining. So now let's see what happens if we move Jane Zar up with her best buddy, and of course making sure he is within synapse range of the Neurothrope. So if we look at Jane Zar, we can see the buff here has got Guardian Organism and Big Target. So we'll be taking 29% less damage, or a maximum of 270. Now, Calendis here can do a fair amount of damage, so let's see what happens. There was a crit and a block, and Jane Zar took literally nothing. Now, if you don't block, obviously that will be more, but at least you can see that she'll have more health than she would normally have if Calendus has their own way. It doesn't, of course, make her impervious, shoot her from a higher area, and, well, all that life does still disappear. But at least she is alive. So now we can go in and say to Shosil, you are not going anywhere. And as you can see, still killed him, killed off his drone, and pushed Calendus back 1-2. And Calendus is now suppressed. Jane Zar could then move up if she wished to then kill off Shosil. But we really want to see what happens with the Crushing Strike. So if I stay where I am, you can see that we'll do 463 damage to Shosil, and this is because he had stayed still, and also because of the Crushing Strike. As you can see, if he moves to Calamity, he'll do 309 damage. And in fact, if we do move the Tyrant Guard, you will see that goes down to 309 for him too. So you can see the additional power that is granted by not having to move. So the big question is, will this guy be meta in the TA? My gut instinct is he won't be meta, but you will need to watch out for him. There will be fans of Tyranids who will be taking this guy in just because he is who he is. And that's not a bad thing. He is a good character to include, and he will certainly be causing some trouble around those TAs where you need to stay on an objective, because this guy can push them off, and if you go up to him, he's not moving anywhere, so he's going to hit you back hard. If you like my reviews or just my content in general, it would be much appreciated if you do think about using my friend code. And if you or your guild are looking for a new home, please reach out to any of the guilds shown. We are looking for new members, and we will welcome whole guilds into our midst. As always, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.